Good evening and welcome to the Marshfield School Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 2nd. As our team.
Mr. Greer.
Here.
Ms. Boyd.
Here.
Bree.
Here.
Mrs. Campbell.
Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, well, everybody please join me in the Peace Builders Pledge. I am a peace builder. I pledge to praise people, to give up put downs, to seek wise people, to notice and speak up about hurts I have caused, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. Thank you very much. We will now move into the informational portion of the meeting. Superintendent Granatino.
Okay, I will just start just briefly. Obviously, last week was a pretty big event with the storm. We don't typically have 3 days off in October. We did actually have a storm a couple years back during right just prior to Halloween that impacted school, but not to this extent. I just want to quickly thank the police and the fire, our DPW, as well as the folks at Eversource. Although we would have liked to have gotten back into the classroom a little earlier, there was really not a whole lot we could do. Mother Nature took out, close to 98% of the power in town. 2 of our schools remained out of power through Friday. And, there was just no way we could run school safely to get around town safely. So we had to err on the side of caution, along with obviously a lot of communities in the South Shore right along the water. So we weren't alone. This does push our end date at the end of the year back 3 days as well. So I believe it's June 15th, that Friday of the week that we were going to be closing. So we'll send out a note to let people know the exact end date so they can plan accordingly. I'm going to let Dr. Martin talk in a minute about, I'm sure she's going to reference today's professional development day. This is our first full day of PD that we've done in quite some time. A couple of those PD days had been cut out a few years back amidst some financial woes in the community, but we were able to negotiate this back into the contract to have a full PD day, and we had great speakers, again, who Dr. Martin will speak about, and just a lot of real meaningful workshops for our staff. It was a very uplifting, positive day, and we picked up a lot of ideas to bring into the classroom, so we're excited about that. Also, I just want to thank the many service providers, organizations around town that met a few weeks ago with Robin Sullivan, our homeless coordinator. She meets roughly once a month, once every 2 months with any number of organizations around the community that step up to help our students in need, those that might be homeless, those that have other issues that need support, and they've been amazing. Actually, at the next meeting, I'm going to have Robin here for a Spotlight on Excellence to talk about the program and what they've been doing, and there's been some very large donations that have come up to help our students in need. So, she had the meeting, and again, a number of different small organizations. We had folks from the Chamber, we had folks from Sowing Seeds, from the Food Pantry, from the Boys and Girls Club, and lots of different individuals as well. So that's an ongoing process that she's really working hard at, and we're very proud of her work, and it means a lot to our students. Also, I want to thank the folks at the middle school. 2 weeks ago, they had a couple workshops with our 7th and 8th graders put on by the District Attorney's Office. District Attorney Cruz, his ADA, Assistant DA Fowle, came and presented on CyberSense, cyber safety for students. Again, both one workshop for the 7th graders, one for the 8th. Some heavy stuff there, but it was needed and meaningful, and it really kind of opened up some eyes. And more importantly, we had one for the parents as well the following Monday, just before the storm. And we had a number of parents there that were able to learn a little bit about some of the needs and what to watch out for regarding cybersecurity, cyber safety with students. So we want to thank the DA's office for their efforts there. Because of the storm, we did extend the Wall of Honor nominations. They were supposed to have closed this past Friday, but because folks did not have power for a few days, we're extending it through tomorrow. So if there's anyone that still wants to nominate, they can go online onto the website and nominate someone to be considered for the Wall of Honor. And then just a quick thank you or congratulations, our student reps might bring this up, but I just want to note that at the high school, there's been a lot in the middle school, there's been a lot of great athletics going on this fall, and we have now the start of the playoffs beginning. We have football, boys soccer, girls soccer, field hockey, all partaking in the statewide tournament. It's the first year that the MIAA is going to have a statewide tournament as opposed to sectionals, which they've done in the past. So we're excited about that. Our cross-country team, both the boys and the girls, won the Patriot League Championships the last 2 days. And at the JV Championship this afternoon on the girls' side, I heard there was a young Ms. Miller who came in first place. So we want to congratulate them. And our cheer team as well, our cheerleading squad, they took part in a competition a few weeks ago over in Duxbury, and they were the Division I and overall champion at that competition, and they're going to be going on to another regional tournament this weekend over at Whitman-Hanson, so we want to wish them luck. But it's been a great fall, a lot of wonderful things going on. Volleyball had a super season, golf's been doing really well, and before you know it, we're going to be hitting a lot of the seasons with musical and theatrical productions as well, so I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. But that's all I have for right now.
I have a quick question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that cyber safety workshop recorded?
I do not think we were allowed to record it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they may have for the parents, but they didn't have a camera there for when the students were there.
Okay.
It's something that they put on. They've been coming to the middle school for a number of years. I think it was 5 years. Last year they didn't come, but prior to that, I think the previous 5 years they've been coming. So, but I don't know if there was some copyright stuff that they just can't.
Okay.
They didn't.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so moving on, Dr. Martin.
Just a few fun things, even though we missed a few days last week. Some of our schools carried over their Halloween celebrations to this week. So, one thing though that the high school, the student council sponsored the Fun Fest on Saturday, which was absolutely amazing, and they had a great turnout. The kids had so much fun. And it just was a great afternoon for people to actually be in person and enjoy some fun. And then Mr. Granatino and I were at South River looking at the pumpkins on parade yesterday. It was pretty cool. My favorite, I don't know if I should have a favorite, but Olaf was right up there. Somebody had made Olaf out of pumpkins. And then I actually got to go into a classroom at Martinson, my daughter's classroom, and got to join in cutting open pumpkins, counting seeds, doing all of that stuff. So just some fun stuff going on in our classrooms. And then the highlight really, PD has been going strong. So even back on October 20th, we had a session with, Amy Scalaro could report on it, destigmatizing mental health for our faculty at middle and high school. So ESS did a presentation for staff, and then TLA did some work with our elementary teachers around writing. And then today was huge. I'm so busy looking, like Mr. Casas, Jimmy Casas was our guest speaker, and one thing that he said was like, look at the feedback, but don't focus on just focus on the good stuff. So I'm looking constantly to see. So far we have about 70 people that gave feedback on the day, and I would say about 85 to 90% is all positive, so that was good so far. But we started off the day with Jimmy Casas, who did a full session with all of our faculty, and our nurses were there in the crowd. Mrs. Pazurski was there, and Mrs. Rodwell from central office. And he just talked about kind of reframing things in a more positive way, and how we can ask questions and how we can get through this time that seems so draining, but how to reframe that in our minds. And he had us laughing, and he had me on the verge of tears a couple times, so it was a great full session with him. And then we also offered 3 sessions for all of our staff, then also had a UDL, a Universal Design for Learning session with Mike Woodlock from Novak Consulting. Hindsight's 2020. I wish he could have had more time, and I think other people are feeling that. because he really talked about meeting the needs of all of our students. Today was really kind of that equity lens about how we meet the needs of our kids. And then middle school, high school, and our elementary service providers all sat in on a session with the Greater Boston PFLAG, who talked about our LGBTQ plus policies, language, supportive practices that we have for our students. They did a great job. They actually had a parent of a student, not one of our students in another district, who talked about their experience with their, I believe it was their daughter that came out at one point, and just that kind of just hit home, and it was very powerful for our staff. And then TLA was back for our elementary folks, doing more on writing and doing the units of study in writing. They had time to work with their teams at their grade levels and also get some coaching along the way. And then Jimmy Casas also this afternoon did a session with our leadership, our curriculum leaders, so our department heads, our coordinators, our principals, Mr. Granatino, myself, and I think we were all kind of blown away at how he kind of had us pegged, I feel like. He hit right where we needed to kind of focus, and he talked about putting structures in place that would help us with communication and help us kind of move our district forward while focusing on the good stuff, but also pushing us to keep moving forward. And he again had us laughing quite a bit, but he also asked some very pointed questions about how we can get better. So overall today was busy, it was tiring, it was exhausting, but it just was very powerful. I think it was a great day overall. Very busy though. Mrs. Pazurski managed to get food trucks in the back, so staff had a choice for lunch. And then they also, Mayflower Health helped us set up some SEL sessions for staff, so virtual sessions. There was one on chair yoga, mindfulness, managing burnout, a nutrition session, so that they had some options there as well. So it just was a big day. Lots of planning, but lots of great presenters and facilitators, and our staff was just really involved, and it was great to see everybody.
Jimmy Casas, if you don't remember, he's the author of Culturize, which is a book that we've been reading for a couple years now as a leadership group, and taking messages from there. And every student, every day, whatever it takes, is his main mantra, which we have kind of parroted and made a part of ours as well. So it was great to have him here in person.
And that's it.
Great. Can I ask another question?
Go right ahead.
Okay, sure. So you had mentioned that Jimmy had you pegged and, suggested implementing certain things around communication and stuff. So I was just curious what your plans are to regroup after this full day of PD to see, what you guys can do better.
Yeah, I think, you can speak, Mr. Granatino, but one thing that he talked about was our meetings and how we can make our meetings more effective, and how we can get kind of that two-way communication and feedback in more positive, powerful ways so that everybody feels they have a voice. He gave us he gave the teachers tips on getting student voice and how to do that more effectively. So I think we have to kind of regroup as a central office leadership team, but then as a full leadership team to kind of talk about our next steps. The curriculum leadership team, we have a meeting scheduled for the year, so we're following up on a couple of the other things, like the UDL. They're coming back for a session. PFLAG is coming for a session. And one of those is kind of a blank slate right now, so it's to be determined. So we probably will follow up with the curriculum leadership team at that meeting. But
I just echo what Ellen was saying, that the messages today were strong, were meaningful. The staff really heard it loud and clear, and things that we all want to work on, and that communication, that two-way communication is important, and making sure that everyone feels they have a voice in the process. And sometimes we lose sight of that as we're trying to move ahead, and we might at times let initiatives or programs get in the way, and we get, kind of trying to do so many things at once. So it was good for us to kind of step back and focus on, start focusing on what we really need to have as something important to be working on, and what might be able to be pushed back, because there's so much time that we still need to make sure our students are not only moving ahead academically, but socially, emotionally, as well as our staff. So a lot of those types of things were discussed, and we'll be meeting as a leadership team to follow up. The most important thing was to make sure that, this isn't just a workshop, a day of workshops that we had and applaud ourselves for and then move on.
Right.
We need to act on them, and we're excited to do that.
One other thing that he talked about with the leadership is just living out our core values
Yeah.
and making sure that we kind of identify our top few. We have a lot of core values. So how can we actually make sure that everybody knows what they are? We're living them, we're communicating them all the time. So I think that's probably one good place to start as a community of schools, and we'll go from there.
Great, thank you. Mr. Miller?
Nothing much to add. I just want to echo Mr. Granatino's statements. I changed in the car and shoved some food in my mouth coming from Hingham in the cross-country meet. 4 races, Marshfield won all 4 races, and they swept both races. It was a great couple of days over in Hingham. So kudos to those students. They do a lot of work.
Not easy.
Awesome, thanks for sharing. Did you guys have anything you wanted to say, ask? No. Kendra?
Yeah.
I can, yes, yep.
Not
Well,
yet.
sure, that was,
Sorry about that.
I was asking if any members of the committee had anything to ask of the staff. Okay, go ahead.
Keeping us updated with the situation kind of all around town, so thank you. Cyberson's presentation at Furnace Brook was wonderful. I know their students also there. I've received a lot of feedback from parents that wish they were there, that weren't able to make it, and so maybe in the future if there's a way, I don't know what the solution is, but to somehow let more parents know about it, because it was really, really informative. And I know that all the parents that were there got a lot out of it, and we all wish there were more families there to hear the presentation. And then I also wanted to mention the fire department. They have been going around the elementary schools. I know my youngest came home really excited that she met Captain Smith. They were doing fire safety presentations at the elementary schools, so just a big thank you for that.
Great, thanks so much. Does anybody have a subcommittee report? Okay. Go ahead.
Council had our first meeting last Tuesday, and we ended up staying pretty late into the afternoon just discussing kind of all that's happening at Furnace Brook, so that was really productive. And the Program Area Collaborative also, we had our first meeting earlier in October. Our annual audit went through completely clear, so that was great news. And I was also reelected to be the chair of that board, so wanted to inform you guys of that.
Okay. So now we will move on to public participation. Does everybody that's here in the public know what the rules are for public participation? You guys have been here before? Okay, great. Would you just raise your hand if you'd like to speak? Would like to? Do you want to go first? Okay, come right up here.
I'm not sure
We
if
just
that
need
one's
your
on.
name and address. Just as a quick reminder, you're allowed 1 minute and 30 seconds, okay?
Yep, that's fine.
And we just ask that you don't direct your comments to anyone specifically, direct them to the committee as a whole,
That's fine.
okay?
My name's Thomas Donovan. Live on 128 Steamboat Drive here in Marshfield. I have a serious issue, obviously, with the mask situation, and we're just trying to figure out, do you have any game plans on getting our kids back to regular life, out of a fishbowl learning? Trying to just figure out where we're going with this whole ordeal. I want my kids to have a normal life, and, you know, I go to sporting events with my kids, and I don't see a mask anywhere. I go to professional sporting events, I don't see a mask anywhere. Our kids are in these classrooms, you know, desks separated. I mean, you turn the TV on and there's these major sporting events, and everywhere you look, there's not a mask to be seen. Where are we going with this scenario? I mean, does the school board have a plan on removing these masks from our kids, you know? And that's my big concern right now.
Okay, so just as a reminder, we don't respond to comments during the
That's fine.
meeting. Did you have anything else that you
No,
wanted to say?
that's my big thing right now.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan.
Thank you for being here. Would like to go next? Come on up.
Timothy Griffin, 63 Prince Rogers Way. A couple of things if I can get to them. One is the 8th grade reading book, the All-American Boys, which I don't know how that got passed through the group here. Basically seems like it's teaching kids that they're judged by their race or their skin color. They're treated different by police, which I think we have a tremendous police force in this town, and I really feel bad the way they were portrayed in that book. So I don't know how these books are getting through the system, but I think we should be looking at them closer. I'd also like to see if the board would like to ask the Mass State Board of Education to disassociate with the National Board of School after asking anyone who disagrees with the critical race theory should be labeled a domestic terrorist. I think we need to get away from that group if that's their stance that they stand on. Also, masks, I am completely against the mask. You can't justify that all these kids wear masks separated. They all walk into a lunchroom, sit closer together, take their masks off, and then go back to a classroom, put a mask on. Doesn't make sense. So I'd like to see some of those issues addressed, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kelly?
So in light of the National School Board Association, Eric Kelly, Peterson Path, calling us parents terrorists, I inquired if we were making payments to them, and to my understanding we aren't, and as well as the AASA that covers the superintendents, assistant superintendents. There is one person, there's an assistant superintendent that the school committee is making payments for of $208. I would like to see that discontinued, and as well as that assistant superintendent repay any monies in the past that we have paid for it. It's come to my attention, the homecoming event, that there was breathalyzer tests being done to the kids that enter the event. And it's to my understanding that the school committee does not oversee the rules that are set in place at all the schools. I would like to see that breathalyzer taken out of it. I think it's saying our kids are guilty and they're going to prove themselves innocent. And I'd like to see the school committee oversee the rules that are being implemented in each school from these subcommittees. I'm looking for the board to vote on whether they approve this mask mandate or not, and have a discussion on it. I think us parents deserve it. You know, when President Trump made the comments of the disinfectant, everybody was aghast over it.
Your time is up, Mr. Kelly. Thank you. No, okay. Okay, so we will now move on to our student representative report. We have Lisa, Nicole, and Erin. Want to come up?
Hi, I'm Lisa Parsons. I'm a junior at MHS. Like district-wide, we have the events of academically. Quarter one ends on the 5th, and report cards come out the 12th. There was no school today for Professional Development Day, and no school for Veterans Day on the 11th for November. FBMS, Furnace Brook, there's the old business. The MCAS results were sent out, as well as MHS. There's also the 6th grade Halloween dance on the 5th. Daniel Webster School, there was the Unity Day against bullying on the 21st, the Pumpkin Run on the 17th. South River, there was the 5K on the 24th, and then the Fancy Friday with all proceeds going to sowing seeds on the 15th, and then the Pumpkin Parade on the 29th.
I'm Nicole. I'm also a junior at MHS. We had the Fun Fest. The money that went to it goes to the scholarships for Student Council. That went very well. We definitely had a lot of people showing up. November 15th is the MHS Art Show. We have a lot of people putting in their art for that. November 10th, Key Club is doing a card distribution for veterans to thank them for their service. MHS is also doing an online UNICEF box for UNICEF and to donate your money for it. And then November 15th and the 22nd, we have parent-teacher conferences for MHS.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm a junior. Among Martinson, Governor Winslow, and Ames Way, their costume parades had to be canceled because we didn't have school on Friday for the kindergartners. And at Governor Winslow, the 3rd grade Plymouth Plantation field trip was postponed.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks, gang.
Thank you.
As always, you guys are welcome to leave if you'd like. You don't feel like you have to stay, okay? You're welcome. Okay, next on the agenda, we have our MEA update. We do not have our MEA representative here, so we are going to call that closed for today, okay? Next, we're going to, let's just approve these minutes. I'm going to go right down the agenda here from October 12th, 2021. I want to let the members of the committee know that I did find an error on there already that Mrs. Pazerski is aware of. It was a spelling of Travis, please. And Mrs. Pazerski, I did notice that it is spelled correctly right after the spotlight on excellence there, so, yep, okay, great. I'll just give you guys a couple minutes to look that over. Let me know when you're all set.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from 12 October 2021 as noted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's 4 today. Mr. Costello is not here. Great. Thank you so much. All right, so now let's move into the rest of the agenda. I believe we have our,
I think she just moved
oh,
something.
I'm coming outside, okay. Our old business, our COVID-19 update.
Yeah, I just
Mr.
want
Mendocino.
to take a second to. Through the power that was granted him by the Board of extended the mask mandate from schools in Massachusetts through January 15th, 2022. What still is in place is the 80% threshold that if a school is able to reach 80% vaccination rate between students and staff, they can still petition to have the ability to have the committee vote to have masks off for those who have been vaccinated. Right now, in Marshfield, we are at 75.6% of our staff and students at the high school are vaccinated, so that equates to about 65 students. So if we had 65, or students or staff, 65 individuals vaccinated at that time, then we can send in the letter of attestation to the state, and that gives the committee the authority. With the test and stay, now we're in probably week 3 or 4 of that. We've been doing it. It's been working really well. Those that aren't familiar, again, test and stay allows students who might be close contacts or staff who might be close contacts to a COVID positive person in school, the ability to have daily tests for up to 5 days, and if they're negative, they remain in school so they don't have to quarantine outside of school and miss class time. It's been really a real positive step. And not that we've had a ton of folks that have had to quarantine. We did have a couple cases at the middle school that had some larger numbers of students, but for the most part over the last few weeks since we went down this path, or the last month or so, there's been some weeks where there's only 2 or 3 people quarantining. So solicited the help of the National Guard. They offered themselves through DESE to help districts that might be short on people to help with the test and stay. As I mentioned in and they provide nursing help for districts taking part in the test and stay program. Since so many districts were doing the test and stay, though, they haven't been able to fill all those spots. So the National Guard stepped in, just like they're stepping in for some districts on transportation, because some folks don't have enough bus drivers. We're fine there, but they remain low. It's kind of a week-by-week thing. We don't have to have them on board here if the numbers don't call for it. But they're there ready to help, and they've been great, very friendly, having a great rapport with the students and staff, so it's worked out very well for us. So that's where we're at right now. Obviously, if we get any more information from the state, if we have any new numbers related to COVID vaccination, again, I believe in the next few days, they may be starting the vaccinations with students younger than 12 years old, from 5 to 12, so that will impact numbers. The middle school, while they would also be available to, for the 80% rule, because the 6th grade are mostly under 12, and many of those students, in general, students at the middle school, fewer have been vaccinated as opposed to the high school. We're at about 51 or 52% vaccinated between students and staff, so we're a ways off there. But that may change if when the age for vaccination is lowered, and I believe that might be happening in the next day or 2. So we'll share that information as that comes out.
Okay. Are you all done?
I'm all done.
Okay, great. When you say they, you say opening up vaccines for younger students, you're not talking about us as a district, you're talking about the state.
The state is, well, I think it's a federal
Right.
/ state thing. I've been on the record before, and that, I don't think the schools should be a location for the vaccinations. I think many students are fine with needles, some are not though, and I don't want to really associate that process with the schools. Obviously, the town has opened up their vaccination clinic. Again, they're going to be running it through the Marshfield Fairgrounds. They started this past weekend. I'm not sure if they were able to start up on Saturday because of the storm, but I know that was their plan, and they're going to be fully vaccinating folks who haven't had their first or second vaccination shots, or if they want to get to their booster shot and they qualify for that, that will be available over there as well.
Right, okay, so just to be clear, you have no intentions of wanting to vaccinate students in school?
No.
Okay.
I mean, myself personally, if you want that, we could talk about it, but I would not be a fan of that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a fan of getting folks vaccinated, but I just think that this should be done through medical facilities or setups made specifically for that. And we have plenty here in Marshfield, so I think that they would be able to handle that for us.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, how many students have participated in Test and Stay? And I know you might not know
Ballpark,
that off the
I would
top of your
say,
head.
I would say we had the first time when it opened up, we had about 6 kids out at the middle school, 14, 23. We've had probably about 3 dozen,
Okay.
3 dozen at most, 30 to 36.
Have we had a lot of positives out of that?
We've had none. There's been no positives.
No positives
No.
out of Test and Stay?
No,
Okay.
no. So again, that meaning that someone who was a close contact didn't then become positive themselves through the testing. So once they did their 5 days of testing, they were able to, they remained in school, but they didn't have to leave at all during that period of time.
Okay. Okay, and you made a comment about the National Guard not having to be here anymore if the numbers don't call for it.
Right.
So, I mean, like, what, can you just be a little more specific?
So, I mean,
Or what
if-
was certain, is there a
if
threshold?
if there's 2 or 3 people here, again, we have a person who was hired by the state to assist us. That's our lead nurse who doesn't work for the district, works for the state, but oversees, her main job is to oversee the process. There are 2 other positions that they want to fill, so they can have kind of a team of 3. So again, they're not putting the burden on our nurses who have to be dealing with our, regular needs of students in the nursing station and throughout the day. But those 2 positions haven't been filled yet. That's why they're here. But if there's 2 or 3 students who are doing Test and Stay for any period of time, that person,
Right.
in conjunction with
Yeah.
our folks, we also, as I had talked about before, we had the certified nurse assistant who's can help out a little bit with some of the paperwork if that's needed. But there's not a need to have the extra. The National Guard, when they come, they send over a team of 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
So if we only had 2 or 3 people that were in this Test and Stay, there's really not a need to have them there. So
Right.
we kind of gauge it at the beginning of each week. A nurse leader, Ms. Landry, will be in contact with them, and on a Sunday, if we know that, we're not looking at large numbers, we'll hold off for that week.
Okay. And our numbers are still being reported on the MPSD website, right? Is
Yes.
that something that's still being updated
Yes.
every week?
Yeah,
Right,
so our
okay.
cases have been, don't have the most recent numbers for this week yet, but previous few weeks, we were averaging 2 or 3 cases, positive cases a week.
Okay, in the whole district?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. Ms. Floyd, do you have any comments or questions? No? Mr. Greer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some comments. I mean, words that come to mind, even though we're on cable, I probably shouldn't say them, although they're probably aligned with some of the reading material that's creeping into our schools. I have an issue with DESE. They suck, to put it bluntly, right? So here we are, an elected board, elected to represent the people of this community, and we're having our hands tied by the Jeff Riley, MD, apparently, who's making these decisions on our behalf, and DESE is tying our hands. Whether you're pro-mask, anti-mask, it doesn't matter. The decision should be up to the people that were elected to represent the community. The other thing, I'm disappointed that we as a board haven't taken a stance. I don't even care if it's about masks, just about DESE, tying our hands, preventing us from doing the jobs that we're elected to do. So I would hope at some point in the not-too-distant future, the board would take a stance against DESE with these mandates, right? The mask just happens to be the straw that broke the camel's back for me. They can talk about all the science they want. I mean, I work in biotech, so to me it's political science and science fiction. And what they're doing to our kids is, I look at it as child abuse. So, again, I hope at some point we do get this on the agenda and take a vote, at least vote expressing our displeasure with DESE in general. That's all.
Campbell?
You all set there, Ms. Campbell? I'm sorry. Oh, she's all set.
Okay, great. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to move on to our special town meeting update.
Yeah.
Is that Mr. Miller?
Mr. Miller, just, we had only 2 items on the agenda for that town meeting on the docket there. One was fusion of $400,000 of free cash, as well as $250,000. He's grabbing the microphone.
Oh. I would have grabbed that for you.
He's still sore from his big, we didn't even mention that. He was the the winner of the pumpkin race at Daniel Webster School.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, it was not a workers' comp matter. No, we're good, we're good. I just wanted to explain, I mean, we.
Yeah, I'm probably going to repeat exactly what you just said, but, yeah, so we only had two really main articles. One was involving the free cash, $400,000 in free cash, and then another $250,000 that will go to facilities. It shared $500,000 for the $500,000 total, $250,000 for the town, $250,000 for the schools. It was managed by Facilities Director Fred Russell. The $400,000 in free cash we are utilizing to offset some of our expenses this year. It hasn't been directly allocated anywhere at this point, but it will be allocated to the out-of-district tuition line to help alleviate some expenses there. And then as we move through the remainder of the year, we'll look to balance out our expenditures with those additional funds. So they'll come in handy, not only this year, but also moving forward to fiscal '23.
Are you all set?
All set.
Okay, great. Okay, so moving on to new business, the capital budget.
Capital budget, I'll pull, wait, this is not Zoom, Zoom's just for Kendra. So Kendra, everybody has the draft capital planning program in their folder, and I could put it up there. What's that? I could share my screen, and then it'll go up on the, and then if you make Kendra big, and we can put it up there. Just hide for a second, Kendra. Oops. And then if I pull the zoom up. All right. Over here. And that. Share screen.
Did you say you have a copy of it?
Oh. You disabled participant screen sharing. All right.
Oh, she has a copy of it.
Okay, we all have it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better we have people in the audience too, but,
I have an extra paper if they want to see it.
so,
Oh, actually, I'm lying. No, I don't. I need both of these.
pull this up here. So, I'll run through the items again. So this is a draft working off of last year's plan, which was also in your drive folder, and then working with primarily Mr. Russell and Mr. Bullock from facilities. Many of these items are related to our building infrastructure. The first item is a phone system upgrade, system-wide. This is under the direction of our technology director, Dave Cawthorn. He's soliciting. You got it right there. If you take the share screen off, Jeff, I can put it up there, and then everybody can look. But, so the phone system upgrade, it's been, I think it's been just about 10 or 11 years since we had our new system put in. This is the technology obviously changes constantly on that front. So so Dave is recommending the upgrade for the telephone system. That's $225,000 estimated right now. We're soliciting several quotes on that front. Item number 2 is a multifunction activity school bus. This was on our plan last year. We have a couple quotes already solicited in the $70,000 range. This is a 15-passenger van. Our current sped vans, special education vans, seat 8 passengers, and then we have nothing in between an 8-passenger and a full school bus. So for some of our smaller athletic teams, some of our smaller field trips, this is a new bus that many districts in surrounding communities do have. So it would be very beneficial to athletics and to field trips for all of our schools. So it's not just the high school activity bus, it is the district activity bus. The third item is actually, I will strike that. We're working with, we're working with our new fire chief, Chief Simpson, and he did, he's done as Kendra talked about, our fire have been very involved in our buildings so far this year. And there's some lighting upgrades and safety upgrades, but we still do have funding remaining from last year, so that's actually going to be taken out of the next draft of this proposal. Number 4 is our front entrance safety upgrade. So we've already done a lot of work at Martinson and Ames Way, and that was in the facilities budget, the $250,000 that we got in town meeting from in a similar funding from last year. We were able to utilize those funds to do Ames Way and Martinson. This is approximately $150,000. We're still putting the plans together, but this is for the remaining 3 elementary schools to build that entrance, the double door entrance to allow our elementary schools to have the same entrance procedure that we currently have at the high school and the middle school. So this is a project that we've been doing in conjunction with the Marsfield Police Department and our SROs. So the 150 is really more of a guesstimate at this point, because we haven't really got into the real specifics of what it is going to entail at those 3 schools. But we're going to be working to get those front entrances done within the next year. Number 5 is concrete, brick, and flashing repair, South River Ames Way. This is primarily South River, and that building is 1950, so it's going on 70+ years old. And some of the brick on the outside is going to need a lot of work to be done there, and those are preliminary quotes that we received. Some work at Ames Way as well, but primarily at South River. Number 6 is paving and curbing at Governor Winslow. So we've had paving and curbing at our elementary schools on our plan forever. It was, and if you look down, I'm going to do this, that number 6 is also combined with 14, 15, 16, and 17. You can see the Governor Winslow quote of just over $90,000 are things that we need to do immediately. We do have a quote for $90,650 total to really hit their most needed areas. We always have this as a priority 3 because it comes after the parking lot to a certain extent comes after anything inside the building and then any infrastructure. But at Governor Winslow, it's badly needed. So we do have a quote in hand for $96.50. We're working with 3 paving companies to solicit additional quotes for what needs to be done immediately at the 4 other elementary schools as well. So if you look down, those numbers, those numbers are $500,000 approximately at all the schools. The Governor Winslow number was that high as well. But what we want to do is really hit what's needed immediately, and then work after that on getting the actual paving of those large lots done. So what we found is when there's work on a road in the area, working with the town and the DPW, that's the time we're able to do a large-scale paving of those lots. But what we're going to focus on over the next, on the plan, it's a 5-year plan, but we'd hope to kind of speed that up a little bit, would be to really hit what's needed immediately for really safety purposes, because some of the issues at Governor Winslow have been there for a while, and just need to be done. So we're looking to get that done at Governor Winslow in this plan. So that's fiscal year 23. So if we dropped 100,000, it's 610,650 total. We had preliminary talks with the town finance team a while back, and it's estimated somewhere in the $500,000 range is what we're looking at probably for capital. And, we'll go to the capital budget committee and talk that through and continue talks with the town, and hopefully we can address all those items on fiscal year '23. Going forward, I'm just going to touch these really just kind of quickly. Number 7, Furnace Brook HVAC, 6th grade wing, first floor. We did complete the second floor. So the second floor, 6th grade wing has fully functioning air conditioning, which is a great benefit for the school. This would continue this $500,000 estimate to continue that work to ultimately get that building fully air conditioned like our high school. And then after we complete that, we would like to continue on to our other buildings as well. So this is just the plan to keep moving forward on that front. Resilient flooring at Daniel Webster. This has been on the plan since the capital assessment of 2014. Not a complete high priority as long as the tile stays down, but at some point that is going to be that needs to be completed. But any tile that is of an era that would contain asbestos sticking material, as long as it's down, it's fine. But what we've seen, if it does start to any issues cracking or pulling up, it obviously needs to be taken care of. So that's Daniel Webster is the one. I think it's our one remaining school that has the old resilient flooring. So that's obviously something that we need to do in the near future. Number 9 is the Martinson roof. We do have a statement of interest. We'll have a statement of interest in coming up this year with the MSBA. We are also looking in. This is I've been updating. As I said, it was a draft. I've been continuing updating this. I do have /solar question mark, because we've obviously been working with the town and on potentially having a solar array put on our roof in order to pay for the new roof. So we're gonna continue to work with the town on that front, but as of right now, we have it as a placeholder for fiscal '24. Number 10 is the gym floor and wall pads at Daniel Webster. It's been on here. That's been on since 2014. There's been some work done over there. We had some warping of that floor, but there was some work done to alleviate that. But eventually, that floor is going to need to be replaced. Going out even further, our only big main item out in fiscal '27 is the roof at Daniel Webster. So if this plan came to fruition, we would have the Martinson roof completed fiscal '24, fiscal '25, and then do that process again once that's all wrapped up for Daniel Webster. And again, there is also talk of solar being a means to getting our new roof at several schools when needed. So potentially there could be solar on Daniel Webster as well, but that is the time frame that we would be looking at. And again, it's a heavy price tag, 50 to 60% MSBA funding, but that would entail another debt exclusion primarily if that came to pass. But if we do get the solar to pay for it, that would alleviate any of those tax concerns. Number 12 is the accessibility at South River. This is primarily an elevator. It's our only building without an elevator with multiple floors. This is also going to be a discussion on South River, potentially at some point having some sort of renovation internally to bring that building up to the 21st century. Again, built in 1950. With any major renovation, it would entail addressing those accessibility issues. So those kind of go hand in hand. So we'll continue to have those discussions on South River. As an aside, not on this plan is potentially, as we've spoken about, the Alamo building, the building adjacent to South River, potentially utilizing that for a preschool or an early childhood center with a major renovation, which could be funded through community preservation fundings, as similar as this building was. So that's something that could be done in conjunction with South River. This is kind of planning well in advance of anything that's been decided, but if the Alamo was renovated, it would allow for renovation at South River because we could utilize the Alamo to move a wing from South River over to the Alamo, and then allow that renovation to take place. Right now, as we stand at the elementary level, we wouldn't be able to do a full-scale shutdown of school renovation because we don't have any place to put those students. So in a grand plan, it would be the Alamo renovated with classrooms, be able to renovate South River to a certain extent by moving some of those students from a wing to the Alamo, and then work that through a plan. So the start would be the Alamo. So we're gonna have those discussions as well with the town and community preservation moving forward. Along those same lines, the wood structure repair, $250,000, South River, Ames Way, Daniel Webster. This is internal. This is what would be needed just to have it's primarily interior windows, window sills. Our exterior windows are great. Our interior windows need to be replaced at those schools. And it's also some other work with South River internally, but that would go hand in hand with a renovation of the school. And then we talked about the paving and curbing, how we're going to attack that over the next few years. So all in all, plan is almost $16 million over that 5-year period, but over almost $10 million of that is those two major roof projects. So all in all, this is a draft off of last year, and then a few new items kind of consolidated with our facilities department. The plan moving forward on this draft was given to Town Hall. We have a interim treasurer over at Town Hall right now, and that was submitted to him just as a draft, and I made it clear that was a draft and it could change moving forward. So we have our next on the agenda. It does say vote. A vote does not have to be taken this evening. We would look for a vote on November 16th at the next committee meeting. In the meantime, I'm going to work with Mr. Greer and Ms. Boyd on any sort of updates, and we'll go through it. I'll get more detail, and anything that you see here that we might want to prioritize or move around, and then come back to the committee on the 16th for a vote to submit to town capital budget.
Tom, I got a quick question on this. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I know the question will be asked. Does the bus have seatbelts?
What's that again? Sorry.
The new bus have seatbelts?
Todman has not ordered a new bus. I will ask.
You know where I'm going with this. We had this group a couple years back.
Yeah. Okay. Let me talk to I will talk to Martha tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that impacted the cost.
Right. There was a cost, but the cost would be, our transportation contract is it's a 3-year contract, 2 option years. We're in our 4th year. So
the bus is new to us. It's not a new bus.
What's that, sir?
The bus is new to the district, but it's not a new bus.
Oh, the
multi-purpose.
The multi-purpose bus here?
How many buses you got there?
Yeah, that will have seatbelts. That's a passenger bus.
Right.
Like a van.
Yeah, I was just double checking.
Yeah, that'll have seatbelts.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the large yellow buses that Todman owned.
Oh, no.
We're working on that
one
front
that's
as well.
on the capital budget here. So, and the other question is, at the town meeting, we voted to prevent solar farms, right? what constitutes a farm? And I don't expect you to have an
Yeah.
answer to that, but can you check into that? Does that have an impact on whether we cover the roofs with solar panels?
Check into that.
That's all.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll check on that.
I have just one quick question, and my apologies if you said this already, but in the two estimates for the roofs, did those reflect a 50% reimbursement or reimbursement from the state, or is that the total cost?
No, that's total cost.
Okay.
The total cost would have to be voted on. The MSBA doesn't allow you to take that into consideration on a vote until the vote is taken.
Okay.
So if all comes to, and frankly, we do have to get new estimates because the cost of construction these are the little dated numbers. So probably with, but the MSBA reimbursement is not indicated in there. So for example, the Furnace Brook roof, came in just under 8 million. And these are obviously smaller roofs, and it was off of that project where these numbers came from. But again, the cost of construction has kind of skyrocketed in the last year or two. So, but that's the full amount estimated.
Thank you.
And as we talked about it at the town meeting, special town meeting, these numbers, again, are a part of that audit that was done in 14. So I think total, there was about $110 million worth of maintenance across the town, and probably close to 70 of that was, noted that the schools needed to have various repairs. So when we're putting these capital budgets together, we're working off those numbers that were part of that plan, just so folks have an idea.
Yeah, our plan, our 22-26 plan from last year still had a number of those really specific items from the capital assessment, but working with Mr. Russell, Mr. Bullock, we consolidated a few because those numbers are now almost 8 years old. So we're slowly moving away from that assessment to a certain extent, but a number of, there's still some items on here from there. And we've utilized that plan to upgrade a number of items, but that's where we're headed on that capital assessment front.
Kendra, did you have any questions?
Nope. Just gonna back up.
I'm really happy to see projects kind of going on now, and then some projects at the top of the priority list that were recommended at our safety committee.
Yeah.
Just really happy to see those happen.
Yeah, the police have been great, working with Fred and Tony and the building custodians as well, on getting some of those issues addressed.
You guys all set? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, you guys all set?
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on to the acceptance of donations.
Yeah, just very briefly, we had 3 different sets of donations. One was from the Chamber of Commerce, $750 total, but it was 3 separate donations that they made to the Key Club, the National Honor Society, and DECA organizations at the high school, $250 to each of those organizations. So we would like to have a motion to accept those donations.
Second.
Favor? Aye.
And we had Sewing Seeds gave a clothing donation, school supply donation. You can, yeah. There's just 2 more. There's just Sewing Seeds and Stiles Law Firm. Sewing Seeds and Stiles Law Firm both gave donations of school supplies. So we don't have an exact dollar amount, but it was just supplies that were able to be shared with some of our schools. So we just want to thank them and officially recognize them and accept their donation.
That's awesome. And we can do Stiles Law together too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
That's the same. They both
Okay,
gave
perfect.
donations
Oh,
of school
awesome.
supplies.
All of them.
That's it. Yep.
Okay, I thought we were
Okay.
gonna go.
Oh, no, that's it. No. Nope, that's it. Just those 2. So if you want to have a motion to approve, to accept the Sewing Seeds and Stiles Law Firm donations of school supplies.
Sure.
So moved.
Oh, so we are doing this.
Just vote, it's just one vote. Then we're done. Then we're done.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
That's it.
Okay. Our next meeting will be November 16th here at the South Central Building. Mr. Greer, would you like to make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah,
Did have one more thing
Oh, you
I just wanted
wanted
to
to
talk
do that?
about. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. A member, just to let everybody know, a member of the committee has brought forward some changes to the school council makeup at the middle school and the high school. So we have myself and Mr. Costello are on the policy committee, so we will be reviewing that, and we will be bringing it forward for a vote at the next committee meeting. Okay?
Second.
All
to
in
think
favor,
about it.
and that's a roll call.
Mr. Greer, Ms. Boyd, Ms. Brate,
Yes,
Ms. Campbell.
This candle's waving to us, so all set.
thank you. Thank
All
you
right,
very
gang,
much. Have a
thank you
great
very
night.
much.